Good morning and welcome to another episode of Coffee Break. Here today we are going to talk about homework and the help for the homework that is taking over our lives now that school has gotten back into session. I'm Megan Schakowsky and I blog at coffeecupsandcrayons.com, and I've experienced homework from both sides of the equation, or maybe even three sides of the equation you could say, as a teacher, as a special ed teacher, and as a parent. So I've been working on this issue for a lot of my adult life, and so hopefully I can share some tips and tricks that I have. I'm also joined today by Jackie Fisher, Kim V, and Melissa Teller that you will all get to hear about, who also are here too. We're going to take some questions. Now, we're using the question and answers app for the live version if you're watching this live. So you should be able to ask us a question that will pop up and we should be able to answer it for you. If for some reason that's not working, I'm going to periodically check the comments on the Hangout. Also, I've gotten a bunch of questions from people who were not able to make it live but still did have some things that they wanted to get some help with. So we'll kind of start with those. But first, let's let everyone introduce themselves. Why don't you go ahead, Jackie?
Hi, I'm Jackie Fisher, and I blog at Adventure with Kids, and I've been doing homework now forever. I, in addition to my own homework, went to college, left college, got a job at a college, so I was helping undergrads get their homework done, had 2 kids while I was there, and continue to do homework. My oldest is 16, and my youngest is 10.
Very well qualified to speak on this topic then. Go ahead, Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim from the Educator's Spin on It, and with a 20-year-old, we've been doing homework forever as well. I also have a second grader at home, and I was a teacher for 10 years. So homework is something that's always been in our life, and I can't wait to share some ideas with you.
Awesome. And Melissa?
Hi, I'm Melissa from Imagination Soup, and I feel like I'm the subversive one who I didn't like assigning homework as a teacher, and now as a parent, I still have some really strong opinions on doing it, and don't always do what the teacher says. So I'll share my ideas about how to sort of manage that balance between what's best for your child's needs and really not irritating the teacher, working with the teacher.
Well, no, and I think that's great because I think a lot of people that I've talked to and that have responded to some of the questions that I've been asking, a lot of people feel the same way about homework. That very rarely does anyone as a parent feel that the homework is just the right mix for their child. You kind of have people that are falling on both sides of the way too much, too hard, too crazy, too time-consuming, to the too easy, and why do they even have to do this stuff if they already know it, and I want them to be learning something else. It's kind of hard to get homework that anybody's really happy with. So maybe we can, we're gonna take some questions and hopefully try to manage it as best as possible because for right now, for most of us, it is in the school, so we want to try to make it the best we can for our kids. We're going to start with some questions that we've gotten from parents already. And the first one is, how do I get my kids to want to do homework? It's a nightly battle. And does anybody want to jump in? Because the homework battle it can be an extremely stressful situation for parents. So has anyone experienced it, or do they have any tips? Or I think Melissa wants to start.
Crying, meltdowns, yeah. So I would suggest two things that pop into mind that might work for a variety of families. Changing the time of day is often really effective. So a lot of times kids are so wiped out when they come home from school, it's not their best time for learning. And with ADHD kids, my own daughter, she does her homework better at first thing in the morning. So that's been a better solution, and she doesn't mind waking up early, as well as rewards. So my kids know that they can have half an hour of screen time if their homework's done and their instruments are practiced. So rewards that can be kind of motivating.
No, it's just like anybody else. If you don't want to, I don't want to do stuff as an adult, and I reward myself. Like, oh, if I get all of this done, I'm going to go do something fun. And so, that works with kids too. So I think that's like a really great tip. And you know what? Homework in the morning is something that I think that's a great idea. We've never tried it, and I've actually never suggested that to any parents. So I think that might be something, like thinking a little bit outside the box. I think that might be something that, could really help somebody. Kim or Jackie, do you have any suggestions about the homework battle?
We do.
I would just do, oh, go ahead, Jackie.
Go ahead, Jackie.
One of the things that we do is make it social, so that homework is both of the kids, even though they're 6 years apart, and if I've got bills to pay or something to do, we're all sitting down at the table together, over a snack, or if it's after dinner, just something so that it's not by yourself struggling through something. It's a little more interactive. And that's helped quite a bit too, to make them, they're kind of excited to sit down because they don't see each other all day. We have such a long school day. It's really hard sometimes for them to spend time together. So that's a reward for them.
That's a great tip. What about you, Kim?
I was just going to say, sometimes for us, when it seems like it ended up being too much, is breaking it into chunks. We're going to do reading when we get home, but then after playtime we'll do math, and after dinner we'll do that project that's due coming out, kind of breaking it up, because sometimes, not always teachers are communicating when it's all due at the same time, which you'll find the older they get, the more that happens. So it's just nice to kind of break it up into chunks sometimes. And then also, we create a little kind of homework zone together. She gets to decorate it and come up with the supplies, and somehow it makes it a little funner to do, so it's not so boring.
You own that. Yeah, that's awesome.
So those are a few things.
I think that's a good idea. We at our house, I would say, like, my advice on this is to play around with it and try different things, because I had in the back of my head, like, oh, they're at school all day, they need to go and play, and my kids really miss each other when they're not at school, and the three of them, that's all they want to do is just go play by themselves. Like, they're perfectly content to do that for 8 hours, which is fantastic. But still, I thought, like, after school we're gonna like have downtime and go play or go outside or whatever. But what ended up happening, especially this year, because I have a kindergarten and a second grader, is that they're just exhausted. So they don't want to do any of that kind of stuff yet, and they need an unwind time. So we do reading right after school. They lay in their beds, they can lay on the couch, wherever they want to, and that's when they do their reading. I try to bounce around and do reading with the little ones because they're all doing different things, but it wasn't what I initially had planned. But they don't want to waste their playtime then when they want to, like, be taking a break. So I think that, like, everyone's going to do something different. Different things are going to work for your kids. And, don't be afraid to try something in the short term to get to a long-term goal. Like, maybe you don't want to be rewarding your kids every time they do a math problem for the rest of their lives, but it's okay if it's such a battle to do it right now and to work towards something else. And that if something works this year or at the beginning of the year and it doesn't work at the end of the year, switch it up. Like, it's not set in stone. And just because you might need to do something to get by for the week, it doesn't mean that it's like a failure, even if it's not what you planned, just to keep trying different things. I think that and rewards, I need them. I think everyone does. No, there's all the stuff we don't want to do. So I think that really works. Okay, the second question. This is a tough one. What happens if I have a child that's constantly forgetting their homework at school? Does anyone have experience with this? I have a lot of experience with this as my role when I was a special ed teacher. Like, that was a huge issue for my students, and trying to navigate that with the student, the parent, and the teacher at different levels and ages. That was a pretty big battle. Has anyone ever dealt with that as a teacher or a parent?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to go again first, but so as a teacher and as a parent, and I think it depends on the age, what your strategy is going to be, and of course your child's personality and sort of what's working. But I think I always forget with ADHD how much more patience and how much more help I need to give my kid. I keep thinking she's going to be more independent and do more on her own, and that's her executive function just isn't there. So for parents to be patient and remember that. So I think a checklist has been really helpful for her. We have a daily checklist that she has to check. So that's the only thing she has to remember, to check that before and then after school, so she knows, did I get the homework? Did I? That works for some kids. And also to pick them up at the door and do that check, make sure before you leave the school. And just that for a few weeks sometimes helps, as well as communicating with the teacher, so the teacher can help reward that, even if it's just a sticker for remembering one day, and then 5 stickers you get a little prize, or sometimes that, and just for a few weeks is all it needs to build the habit. But it just depends. And then, older kids, what I've seen work really well is with cell phones, if they're having trouble like writing down the homework, then just to take a photo of the homework on the board sometimes is really helpful, because it's not so overwhelming.
Yeah, that's so smart. That's what I do when I go around town when I'm dropping my daughter up at preschool and I have to remember something. I do take pictures myself. That's a great idea for kids to do it too. Kim or Jackie, do you have anything to add? Are you frozen? No, it's okay if you don't.
I actually didn't hear the question. You muted me in the middle of it. So ask me your question again, Megan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have any advice for what to do if your child's forgetting their homework at school?
Forgetting their homework, as in not remembering what they're supposed to do? Huh?
Is anybody there still?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Kim.
Okay.
I can too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's not forgetting homework.
Honestly, it's on them. I think homework is one of those stages where they're growing up and it's time to write things down. I know in the younger grades, teachers are pretty decent about getting things organized for the kids and keeping some sort of record of what's for homework. But as they get older, I do give that accountability to them, because with one in college now, they have to learn that skill or else they won't do the work when it comes to be independent when they're older. So honestly, half of homework is that skill of remembering.
That is a good point.
And one of the things that we do, and it's part of that responsibility, when they're younger, kindergarten and first grade, it's really hard. But as soon as they get old enough that they know their friends, if they've forgotten their homework, then we call a friend, find out if they have the spelling list, can we walk over and get a copy, or if they need a certain book, either, can we find it at our library, in which case their free time, their TV time, or their gaming time is used with a run to the library, just to reinforce that if something needs to be done at school, that needs to take priority. With younger kids, oh my gosh, the spelling list in first grade, I don't think ever came home on the first day ever all year. So unfortunately, it seemed like, I tried to say, if it doesn't come home the first day, we have to practice, the second and third day, and normally if you get it on the first day, you can get through it fairly quickly. And so some of it, I think, is just a learning curve with them too, when they're young.
I agree, and I think the biggest. Here, I'll try to make you guys again. I think the biggest thing with forgetting homework or anything like that is to start where they're at. So you're not going to go from a child that's habitually forgetting their homework all of the time to your child that's perfectly doing it independently on their own. So you're going to kind of want to work. You're going to start wherever they're at, whatever their age is, and you're going to want to give them more accountability gradually. So if you haven't seen a homework sheet in 3 weeks, then you're going to check with that teacher, and you're going to get her email or his email, and you're going to be on top of it for the next day. Because if it's important enough to do, then you want your child to have some say in it. Right. Then you're going to start to step yourself back so that they're going to learn the skill, because according to what a lot of people are saying is that the thing that they want them to learn is how to be responsible and get that to and from that we all need to do. So that is what your goal is, more so than stressing about maybe that they don't have it done on the first day. Once we all, they'll get natural consequences for that at school too, and we can kind of all work with that. But if it's an everyday kind of thing, then you're going to want to get with the teacher right away and develop a plan. Mm-hmm. So whether they need a checklist, whether they need rewards, whether they need to have like the natural consequences, like you lose your time, whatever. But maybe the first week where you're going to like work on homework, you have the backup of the teacher, and you have the teacher maybe doing verbal reminders before they leave. And they're accountable for it, and they have the natural consequences, but they're going to get some help before they like get there, because it's really hard to go from 0 to 100% overnight. So, and it's super stressful to be the parent when you're the one that was supposed to be, helping them and getting all their homework done and teaching them to be responsible and making dinner and doing 5,000 things, and they don't remember their homework. And then the one that remembered their homework at soccer practice, well, do they have to miss soccer practice? So we have to do all this stuff. It just becomes completely overwhelming. So that you're going to want to just make sure and communicate with the teacher, like, most of all, because you're on both ends. If it gets lost on the bus, like, I don't know. Like, you maybe.
Right. Another nice thing is a lot of teachers are putting their homework online on their websites too. So it's like an avenue that we didn't have as kids, but it is, a lot of people are spending their time, so that communication is there. So either you're checking as a parent and prompting maybe at home. I saw that you're on chapter 3 now in math. Which homework do you have tonight? Kind of prompting those things so they, oh yeah, I wrote that down. Or even having them go look. They're able to search and look and see what the teacher's posted. So that's another train that you can follow.
And some kids, some kids just don't have the ability yet, but some kids forget because they don't want to do it. So they're like, I'm just gonna hide it, like, out of sight of mind. And so, and I have no idea what you're talking about. That never occurred. But maybe if you can't catch them up on the next day during the evenings because it's, maybe there's not enough time. But if they know, well, that on the weekend and Saturday I don't get to, watch a movie because I am gonna like make up some of this homework. Just the thought of that happening once for kids who are choosing to forget their homework might also work. So, it kind of depends on where you're at, but I think that, it is something you can work on. So hopefully it won't last forever. What do I do if the homework is way too easy? If I think the homework's way too easy for my child? Any takers?
I'll jump in. Rejoice.
There's no battles. You just have to speak with the teacher. But I think in general, the big problem with homework that I see consistently from my readers and what I've seen as a teacher trainer is that a lot of times it's not meaningful, and it's not practicing extending the concept in a meaningful way. The child is just doing busy work. So I think when it's too easy, that shows you that possibly it doesn't need to be done because they've already mastered that skill, and there's no further depth that they can get to it. And again, that's communicating with the teacher or deciding just to write a note and not doing it. So we didn't do homework, and I'll just tell you, we didn't do homework in 2nd grade because it was 60 minutes a night. I let her read, and that was it. Because the other homework was, can I say stupid? It was not meaningful spelling practice that didn't help her learn. Like doing a word search with her spelling words was the best we could get, but some of the assignments were not meaningful to learning the spelling words. So I didn't have her do it because she's 7 and she needs to play, and I thought reading was more a priority. But she got graded down, and I didn't care. That was my choice. Like, that was our choice. We're trying to do it now. But again, 3rd grade now, it's sometimes an hour and a half, and I'm not into it. That is too much for an 8-year-old. But I got off track. Sorry.
No, I think though the advice is good to like, the first thing that you might want to do is like communicate with the teacher to kind of see what the goal for it was, and to see if they're noticing a lot of the same stuff in class or not. Jackie, did you have any thoughts?
We kind of bucked the system a little too. We talked with the teachers, and some of them were really cooperative, but it's the busy work, because then it tells kids feel like it's a waste of their time. They're not learning anything. They're not challenged by it. So we actually substituted things for homework, and we sent them into the teacher to basically say, we know you wanted him to practice math tonight. The math worksheets were, something he's already mastered, and he was, way beyond this, so he chose to do this type of math. So we would just, whether it was come up with an activity that he did, or if he had different, they have crossmatic puzzles at our school and different challenges that you can find online. So we'd print something off, and usually my son would do something different like that. My daughter's more creative, so if she does homework that's really easy, she flies through it, and then she draws these gorgeous, elaborate pictures all over the page for artwork. So she kind of, she gets her own creative time with that. But yes, I would definitely say, again, talk to the teacher, because my biggest beef is then by 3rd or 4th grade, kids are so sick of homework because it's not, I don't know, it's not giving them anything. It's not giving them a challenge. It's not giving them any kind of a motivation to learn anything new. It becomes very frustrating, I think.
Kim, do you have anything to add?
I'm the total rule follower. We do ours faithfully, but I tend to make them into games. So just you bump that out really quick, and then afterwards we're going to play a game with it and make it more hands-on, gross motor kind of things. And that, honestly, that's why we blog about after-school activities on the Educator Spin on it. As a teacher, you're told never to give homework that you feel a child can't do on their own, because you don't know a home situation. So that's part of why sometimes the homework is not catered to your child, but to the whole class in general. So, we just take a fun thing, pump it out, and then make it into a game. That's what we do. So, sorry.
We do the same thing, and I also use it as an opportunity. If one thing that we have assigned for homework is way too easy, there's always other stuff that they haven't mastered yet. So we kind of can swap it out. I will say, though, that I have primary age kids, so their homework is very different. My son's kindergarten homework is super fun. I mean, I'm just making dinner, and I'm like, and then do this, and it's not anything that would need to be differentiated anyways, and it'd be practice whatever. I have sometimes swapped out words maybe that he already knew for a word that he didn't know to write, whatever. Mm-hmm. But in 2nd grade, when the homework's too easy, it's I say review that really quick on your own, and then we can do this. She really wants to learn multiplication. Mm-hmm. Because who doesn't want to learn multiplication? Not me. But she really wants to learn multiplication, so I kind of use that, to extend it as a, an incentive to kind of just review, place value at the beginning of the year. As they get older, though, I think that becomes more difficult, and I think that that's where, and parent, in communication with the teacher, it becomes a lot harder when a teacher has 8 classes during the day. So I think that if you are seeing that your middle school and older child, it's way too easy for them, you want to check into it more. If your feedback from the teacher is, listen, these kids are having trouble with their study skills, and my goal is that they're doing it and bringing it home, and they're putting their name in the right spot, then that's what the practice is. It's kind of sometimes really difficult to judge what the goal of the homework was as a parent. So I think the biggest thing is, and if it's one night or 2 nights, that's great, and maybe it's just review for a test or whatever. If it's a habitual thing, and you're, before you're concerned, you first thing, send a quick email and kind of say, what's going on with the homework? What are you looking to get out of it, so that you're on the same page. Okay, we are going to run out of time because I'm going to have to pick up my preschooler. So I'm going to skip ahead to some other questions. I'm so sorry. Do I check homework? I'm just going to answer that one. The majority of the time, teachers are going to want you to check their homework. If you don't know whether or not you should be checking your homework, you need to ask the teacher, because I do know that my niece's teacher doesn't want their parents to check the homework. She's using it as a different kind of tool, and that is not her goal. But she told the parents that. So if you're unsure, do a double check. But in general, yes, you kind of want to check. Do you need, if your child misses every single one, And do you need to sit there and do every single one with them? No. You write a note, you go over it, you do a couple, you see if you can grasp some understanding, you write a note, struggling with this concept, spent this many minutes on it, got them all wrong, here's what we did, and you write your initials. That's not your child skipping homework, that's you informing the teacher about what's working. Okay, this one kind of goes together for little kids. So after a full day at school, how do you get your new homework doers, the little ones? How do you get them to concentrate on homework? Where it's not a battle, they're just off on their own. And how, when you have littler ones at home, how do you get them occupied so that the big kids can get their homework done? I'm just going to pick somebody now. Kim, go first.
Okay, sure. How do you keep the little ones occupied while the big ones are doing it? I usually try to have a little project going on I have a 2-year-old, some sort of project that she can work on during that time, whether it's a busy bag or she's coloring with crayons or painting with watercolors, just so she's doing her work too, because she wants to be like big sister. And they have separate zones. Because, at 2, they start to still ruin homework of big siblings, so we keep them separate. That seems to work. And how do you get them to get it done and move on? We do our one TV show in the afternoon, and that happens after homework happens. So that's kind of, they get to both watch it at the end of homework time. So that's our incentive.
That's great. Jackie, how about you?
We spend time outdoors all the time, especially when the kids were younger, so I had a little one. So we'd always, on the way to the park, we might practice spelling words. We'd bring sidewalk chalk so one could draw and the other could write spelling words. We would do math facts and things like that while playing on the playground. If you get it right, run here, and we'd throw out another one. So any place where I could have them both outside and playing while I was helping one with homework and the other one, we'd kind of double up, get outdoor time, and everybody was kind of getting their energy out.
I think that's a great idea. Use whatever is going to keep the one occupied and involve the homework in it. I think that's a good strategy. Melissa, did you have anything to add?
No, that sounds great. And I think that because we're all coming from this teaching background, that's why we have the blog. So if your readers don't know, you're not, they're not teachers, you're just parents. That's why we hopefully can provide all these ideas on our blogs too.
Well, and that was gonna be my closing. So awesome segue. We will leave links in the comments when I get back from preschool pickup. Don't look for them right now. We will leave links in the comments to everyone's blog because, as you can see, we've all been there. We've all had different struggles and different challenges, and we care a lot about the education of our children. So we do have ways that we make it more fun. And we, beyond that, have bazillions of Pinterest boards with 7,000 ideas that you can also use to make them more fun. And not to make it a commercial, but you know what? When you're stressed and busy, why reinvent the wheel? Why not go with what other people do? That's what I do all of the time. Yeah, I could think of 12 ideas on my own, but why should I today? I'm just going to pull out somebody else's. So we will leave links to everything on there for you guys to check out. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any more homework questions or problems, feel free to leave them in the comments on the event or right underneath this video on my profile page. And come back next Tuesday where our topic is going to be acts of kindness. So we'll have some fun ways that you and your family can get involved with acts of kindness. And I will see you then. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Megan.